Everyone. This is Marie here from Funding for Good, and today we want to talk a little bit about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. Many of you know I've spent the better part of 2 decades working with youth-serving organizations, and it's always a privilege to be able to do that when Mandy and I go out in the community with Funding for Good. One of the things that we've noticed is that many organizations have amazing intentions, stellar programs, and just the assumption that everyone that works in those programs has the best interest of children at heart. We would love to believe that's true, but sometimes it's not. So we have different programs and offerings that focus on policies that protect. Today, I want to talk a little bit about a policy that protects youth-serving organizations. We have a sample on Funding for Good's website. So if you are looking at your computer screen right now, you will be seeing Funding for Good's home screen. Lots of tools and tips and things there, but we're going to jump over to the free stuff section and just take a look at a sample here and talk a little bit about why it's important. All right. So we're going to skip through all these extra resources, general resources, things like that. And we are going to go to, under the general resources section, Child Protection Policy Sample. Now, anytime you want to use any of these templates, just remember all you have to do is go down to the bottom of the page and click the download button that's at the bottom of the page right here, and a document that's going to come up is going to come up in a Word template so that you can edit it as you see fit. You can take Funding for Good's logo off, take the header footer off, and just make it your own. Anything under this free tab is here for your use. So today, why have a child protection policy? We are living in a metoo movement world where just allegations are surfacing, things that have happened, in many adults' past are now coming to light. They were vulnerable children. There's just a massive movement related to protecting, especially our vulnerable population. It should have always been a point of interest and a priority, but unfortunately, it takes tragic things happening before organizations tend to take action. Today, I'm going to encourage you to be proactive, not reactive. And I'm going to encourage you to also reach out to your local child advocacy center, your local, any local organization that works in child advocacy. It may not be called a child advocacy center, but most communities have one, or at least a neighboring community, because they're going to be able to offer you resources as well. This is what they do. And I was able to work with our local child advocacy center and facilitate programs like this. And this is a template or model that we created for a program that I worked with many years ago. So hopefully you will find this helpful. But what are some of the things that you need to be thinking about in child protection policy? A few things, actually. You need to have a written policy because parents, staff, volunteers, community members need to know what it is you intend to do to keep children safe and how you intend to react and proceed if there is a threat of any kind towards a child or a vulnerable person in your care. You may change this and say this is for senior protection or vulnerable population, but today we're talking about child protection policy. So this is great for after-school programs, childcare programs, anything where you have children either working as volunteers. Maybe you have minors that are doing projects with your organization. Maybe you actually are a youth-serving organization. Whether you are youth-serving or you engage youth in your missions, you need to have a child protection policy. So a few things to keep in mind. 1, you need a written policy. 2, it needs to be distributed to the family members, the parents, guardians of any youth that you will be working with, serving, supervising in any way. If it's a Boy Scout coming in to do a project, parents need to be aware of your policy. If it is a Girl Scout, if it is 4-H, anyone coming in to do service projects, what is your policy for working with volunteers that are youth? If you are serving youth, how are you going to go above and beyond to make sure they are never put in a situation where they feel uncomfortable or there's a potential threat to their safety? A few quick tips. You're going to go through this policy. You're going to see lots of information. At the end of the day, you want to make sure every interaction between an adult and a child is observable and interruptible. At any point, it is observable and interruptible, and that you have a plan in place for dealing with any kind of allegations, whether it be from a child or the parent, that you have an immediate response ready. There should not be a stuck in the system response because you've never dealt with it before. I also encourage you to look at your insurance policies. Many of the general nonprofit liability policies include a $25,000 or a $50,000 protection clause that will help the organization with legal fees should there be an allegation or a lawsuit related to child abuse, child neglect, anything like that. So I definitely check out your insurance policy, make sure that you have some legal coverage there, but first and foremost, we want to make sure that the systems are in place so that children are not being left vulnerable. Take a look at this document, make sure that you have, that you customize it for your needs, and let us know if you have any questions. And again, reach out to your local child advocacy center to make sure that you have the resources that they have available to you as well. Hope this was helpful and just a great reminder for youth serving organizations today.